account. My job is not to say, well done, Keir, keep going. I'm not his cheerleader. I'm the person who's supposed to point out where the government is going wrong and say that they need to do something about that. And yes, you're right, Lord Mandelson is arrested for things which happened before Keir Starmer was in government. I'm calling for the release of the decisions that he made while he was in government. Keir Starmer doesn't want to release those. And, you know, everyone's talking about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The King has said that the law needs to run its course. Justice will be served there, I'm very sure. But Parliament is supposed to be holding this government to account. Instead, they're doing everything they can. Say, look over there, let's look at Prince Andrew, let's not look at Keir Starmer. I'm not going to get distracted by that. I can see what the government is doing, and it's a shame that the Liberal Democrats are helping them. We all need to make sure that the vote we had just a few weeks ago to release the first tranche of documents actually happens. We haven't seen those first documents yet, and now we're having another vote on a second batch of documents. Fine, but let us not get distracted. The Prime Minister has very serious questions to answer. He sacked the Cabinet Secretary who was overseeing the release of those documents. No one knows why, and we must not forget that. My job is to hold the Prime Minister to account, and I will not be distracted from doing that job. Thank you. Daisy Eastlake from The Times.
Thank you. Can I ask first the parents on the panel, do you think Labour's been too weak on introducing a social media ban? Starmer's previously cited his own children benefiting from social media as a reason why he's reluctant to introduce one. What are your reflections on that? And one for you, Kemi Badenoch. In your student loan policy, you've proposed reducing interest rates in future, but will the Conservatives look to do anything to retrospectively address the interest that has already been added to the loans for Plan 2 graduates, such as a one-off interest forgiveness like we've seen in Canada and Australia? Thank you.
So I'm going to let Ellen come in on her views about the government. And as Laura is the Shadow Education Secretary, I will allow her to talk more about the student loans policy. People, especially Martin Lewis, have probably heard enough from me. So, Ellen. Yes.
I think I speak on behalf of all the parents here. We absolutely think the government is too weak. You know, we can't make a difference for our children. They're no longer here, but we can make a difference for the other children. And we spend our time campaigning to say, please, please protect some other children, because not one of us wants another parent to be in our position. And there is nowhere else where there's a product that is harming a child that we wouldn't remove that product, fix it, and give it back. And I'll tell you what, if you took it off the social media companies and said, you find the solution, you fix it, just as if it was any other product, and hand it back to the children, if they can make it safe, then I think we should do that. And I think all of us wholeheartedly agree that it is not safe, and you're going to end up with more parents in our position.
Right, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I'd just like to say as well, this isn't political. This needs to be a cross-party, and no way should our children be the pawns of this. Children are dying every day. It's a crisis, it's global, and it has to stop now. So everyone needs to come together. These platforms need to, if it's not fit for purpose, it shouldn't be here. And any child under 16 can't deal with social media. It's proven. The frontal cortex doesn't fully develop till around about 25. We find it difficult enough being on social media. How the hell are these kids coping with it? So we need it all together.
Does anyone else want to come in?
Yeah, can I just also, it's okay to blame other people for everything that's going on, but I think these companies have become too powerful. I think globally, governments are scared of the power they wield and the amount of money they wield. But you have to remember, they are making that money off of data everyone in this room creates, every child creates. That needs questioning. How have they got that power in the first place? I mean, I believe we dropped the ball back in 2000 when Bill Clinton passed Section 230, which allowed these companies to act with complete and utter impunity. That's where it went wrong. We are now catching up. AI is on our doorstep. Would you give a 6-year-old AI? I cannot take a 6-year-old into an 18 movie at the cinema without someone asking a question. Why would you give them AI? And just on that point, let's keep AI out of primary schools. They do not to be there. Mobile phones do not need to be in primary schools, so let's please try and work on that.
Yes, we're trying on that too. It's also important to say, if this was any other product that was killing children, it will be withdrawn from the market immediately. We absolutely need to have the same principle here. Just on student loans, it wouldn't be retrospective. But we would ensure in the future the interest rate was inflation only. Labour's made the situation worse. We would try and make it better.
Thank you.
Can I just say that Australia said it and did it. The UK, we're still talking about it. Every single second we lose in a child's life, and we're getting nowhere. That's why we're here today. Thank you so much, Kemi, for bringing us here today. Thank you for arranging all of this. This is amazing. We want changes. We want to save other children's lives, period. That's it.
Thank you.
That's all we've got to say.
Thank you, George.
Can I just add one more thing, really sorry. The parents I'm sat with have no idea what happened to their child. Thanks to TVP and the investigation that went around Ollie's murder case, we saw a 2-week period where he was being abused, groomed, bullied, and people he trusted turned against him and murdered him in a field 200 yards from our doorstep where he was safe. So this can happen to anyone, anywhere. We have no power how these people get to your child. Just think of this as a scenario. If a child is in a playground, 2 strangers walk up to him, there are people around that child that question who those people are, action will be taken. On a mobile phone, there's 100,000 people around that child and nobody's doing anything.
And can I just say, I think that something that we get across, Lisa and I get across to the schools is when you hand your child a mobile phone, you allow a billion strangers into your child's bedroom.
I think it's such a critical point. There is so much that is beyond the scope of what we're discussing today. Mobile phones, smartphones in schools, even things like EdTech and AI. This is just the beginning of what I believe is a counter-revolution about what is going on online. We've had plenty of time now to look at things and study. This should be the beginning of a much wider debate, but the most urgent thing is getting children off social media. I've still got a few questions from the media. Genevieve Hall-Allen, please.
Hi. Firstly, thank you so much to the parents who've come to speak to us and shared your really powerful testimonies with us. First of all, to Kemi, something really interesting has been raised here. I mean, if tech companies, which are really powerful and really wealthy, indicate that they don't want to play ball on a social media ban, what are you going to prioritise? Are you going to prioritise getting this ban over the line or relationships with these big firms? And secondly, to the parents and also to you guys, schools use iPads, give children iPads in schools for learning, for homework, things like that, and increasingly AI is going to be a topic, whether it should be introduced in the classroom and how children should use it. Do you think this needs to stop? Do schools need to get a grip on this and actually say, no, we're not going to be giving iPads to kids, we're going to take a stronger line on this? Thank you.
Genevieve, thank you. So you asked, what would I prioritise, the ban or relationship with the tech companies? I don't have a relationship with the tech companies. I don't know them. And I have 3 children. I'm not prioritising tech companies over my kids or anyone else's. That's just that's just a fact of life. I can see how tough it is for me, an adult, to stop being on social media, because there's always one more thing, whether it's on Twitter or doom scrolling on Instagram late at night, someone sends you a funny meme, and you don't just look at that thing. There's something else that's coming, and before you know it, you're drawn into this world. And it's not just social media. It's even things like YouTube, which I've taken off my my TV because my children just kept watching all sorts of weird junk. I think that there are some things that parents can do, but parents cannot do everything. The tech companies are run by people who don't let their children use these things. That is one of the most powerful anecdotes. They know the dangers. They don't give this to their kids. Why should it be our children whose data they're using to make money? If we all stand firm and stand together, they will change. On tech in schools, I think my answer would be yes, more broadly, but Laura can speak more specifically on that.
Yeah, we've got a wider package of measures. We've laid down a number of amendments to the schools bill, which largely the government have completely rejected. They've included stopping the reception baseline assessment being done on an iPad, which is something which has come in recent years. We wanted to stop exams going online to normalise screen use throughout the day. We wanted to make homework optional screen-free, because again, if you think about it, children are too often being on screens all day and then at home in the evening as well, and it's really hard for parents to police that use, to find out what they're actually looking at when they're doing this. So this is part of a wider look that we're having about technology and young people, to work out what is actually helpful and what isn't. And I think the reflexive use of technology when we don't know it's being useful for children is the wrong way to go, and we are trying to push the government on that.
Thank you. Martin Beckford, Daily Mail.
Thank you. Could I just ask whether your proposed ban will be on specific platforms? Because one of the parents mentioned AI chatbots, which wouldn't be classed as social media, and there's other things like Roblox, which is being accused of being used by paedophiles, but that's not social media either. And would you include WhatsApp in the ban? Thank you.
So I don't define WhatsApp as social media, because the definition I gave earlier, the ability for strangers to connect with your children and for it to push algorithmic-driven content, where there's yet another thing that you're seeing, whether it's words, text, video. That's how I define social media. WhatsApp, for me, is not that much different from text messages. So that's not what we're talking about. I think Roblox is a very interesting example, because it doesn't call itself social media. I recently allowed my 9-year-old son to get Roblox. I am now fighting to get him off it. Absolutely. And one of the things that I had to close down was chats coming in, which I didn't realize were part of Roblox. And there's still ways, despite me shutting it down, the chats still keep appearing. And he now knows that this is a problem. So right now he has been banned from Roblox. Not thanking me for it, but I think that the definition of social media has to be about what it is doing rather than the name of the company. And if we define what it is doing, then we'll be able to capture exactly the platforms that are causing the problem. So thank you. And the final question is from Noah Hoffman of The Sun.
social media firms in the wake of your children's death, and if they've tried to have a conversation about you or make any contact at all. And Kemi, do you have any plans around reconnecting children with the idea of play and sport and being in nature, and not just holed up in their bedroom on the toxic algorithms? Because experts like Jonathan Haidt have spoken about a wider sort of crisis of childhood and children not doing, the types of things that I did growing up. Do you have any plans around that?
Right, thank you. I will let Ellen start for the parents on your first question, and I'll come in at the end on the second one.
So it was about products, wasn't it? No, remind me of being sorry. Content. Oh yes, sorry, that was it. Yeah. Yes, when I first went to get Jules's data, it was 2 years after he died, and I approached all the social media companies and I said, I want to see what he was seeing because I don't understand why he's not here. And they all refused. As a parent, you have no legal right to see what your children are looking at. So I was told without a court order, I couldn't obtain it. So I have received some data, and you can download some data. They make it incredibly hard as a parent to download the data. Discord, for example, you have to go onto the child's device. You need to know the username, the password, and then when I said, I think he's got another account, they said, well, we can't give you that without you getting into that account and then requesting it. And then they won't release messages, then they won't release browsing data. I had a Zoom call with TikTok who were absolutely useless and said, well, we might have deleted the data, when I can see quite clearly on his device that there were images on it, and they've been greyed out. I now can't see anything. They've obviously locked me out completely. And then there was another time that Mariano and Stuart and I were sitting in Parliament with a phone debate, and we had YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, and
Instagram.
Meta there. And we begged for our children's data. We absolutely begged. And the MPs in the room said, just give them the data. And they all refused. They said, well, we might get sued. And they all were like, well, who is going to sue you? It's the parents that want the data. They absolutely refused. Now, if that was a company that had nothing to hide, why would they not say, here you go, parent, I hope you get some answers? Because all we want to know is what happened to our child. They refuse that data. They refuse that because they know there's harmful data on their platform. And that is the only reason they're refusing it. Sorry.
I think that's right. I have nothing to add. You've answered it brilliantly. They do know what is out there, and they don't want to damage their business model.
I'm pretty sure with Jules' law we will start to see I think it will be a radical change.
You see, that's when children die. Now, when children die, eventually, when it gets royal assent, we will be able to automatically preserve the data. We've then got to get the social media companies to actually release it, so I hope they work out how that's going to happen. But then we can start holding social media companies accountable. The problem with that is you're waiting for the child to die before we get to that stage. We've got to do more before and take it off. We don't want the children dying. But that is a solution to hold the social media companies accountable when we can prove what they're actually seeing.
The reality as well, the children are the biggest customers. That's why they keep hanging on. You know, it's profit over lives. And we've said that saying from day one. So it's time for action now. We can't keep going on and more children dying. It's just absurd, it's obscene, it's insulting for all these parents here. That the more we act, nothing's happening. But now, hopefully, Kemi's going to get this across the line.
You mentioned earlier on, who was it that mentioned Roblox?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I need to make it very clear. Roblox is the most dangerous game to be played by any human being, let alone a child. And second comes Fortnite and Minecraft. I'm sorry, but I have to say that. So kids should not be on it at all under any circumstances. And yeah, and that's where it does feed in from these games that children sit there playing online with people they don't know. Just like you wouldn't speak to a stranger in the street, why should you be speaking to a stranger while you're playing an online game? But what do children know? Their brains are like sponges. They have got no idea what's going on, and they absorb everything that comes their way. And then this is what happens. And it's very sad, but let's hope that we could make changes, at least as from now on.
Thank you, George. And just to conclude this session on Noah's other question about encouraging more play, engaging with nature, this is what we would like to see. However, I don't think that this is the kind of thing government should start getting too involved in. Government cannot do everything. I'm somebody who believes in limited government. Let government do what it can do. Government needs to tackle the tech companies. It's way too much for parents. What I don't want to see is the government mandated play schemes of how many hours you need to spend in the playground, like they did with the toothbrushing thing with teachers. I think that's far too much. What I want to see is us starting from first principles. We saw what happened with the Online Safety Act, all sorts of rules and things impossible to do. Let's start principles first. Freedom, we believe in freedom for adults. Let us protect children. Children should not be there for profit for companies that have become so big they seem to be beyond regulation and are able to influence and lobby in ways that we haven't seen before. We should not put profit over the lives of children. I do not want to see any more children dying because they've been on social media. We can do this, and I'm really grateful to all of the parents and all of you who've come in to listen to them for fighting so hard, because I know, as you said, you're no longer fighting for your children, but you're fighting for the children of everyone else, and we are all very grateful for what you're doing. Thank you so much, everybody.